Oh, hey there. It's Gary Hoffman from the Gary and Shannon Show on KFI. And I'm standing in my kitchen. Came out of the pantry because that's where I spend a lot of my Saturday mornings. I wanted to welcome you to a virtual seminar. Reborn Cabinets kitchen and bath seminars are usually held in person, but there's a little bug going around, so I hear. So we're going to do this thing virtually today. And a couple of things. Number one, you're going to learn all about this process. You're going to learn everything that Reborn Cabinets can do for you, whether it's just a couple of simple cabinets that you need redone, remade, whatever it is, to a full kitchen makeover. Now, I went as far as doing the signature refacing process. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You'll hear from other people who've had their kitchens redone by Reborn Cabinets and learn all about the process, what goes into how they do their work, and what it is that you should look for if you're going to get your kitchen or your bath redone. So let's start things off with my colleague at work, KFI's own Fork reporter. Here's Neil Saavedra.
Wow, thanks, Gary. Thanks so much, buddy. The kitchen is looking gorgeous. That's actually the start of my investigation into Reborn Cabinets, is seeing what these wonderful people did for Gary's kitchen. He and his wife bought a home. They wanted to make the heart of their home something beautiful. And of course, they started right there in the kitchen. Gary showed me the pictures, got me hot on it. Years later, I'm doing the same thing. To start us off here, I want to introduce, he's going to be let's call him the information guy. He could do this by himself, but really they have me here for the eye candy mostly. But I want to introduce the CFO of Reborn Cabinets, Anthony, my friend, Anthony Nardo. How are you, brother?
Excellent, Neil. Very happy to be on your show.
You know what's crazy about this, Anthony? So we've got Gary. He's some 30 miles away in one direction. You're 30 miles away in another direction. And the technology allows us the opportunity to bring not only ourselves together, but an audience together to learn about what's going on at Reborn with trends. We'll talk about some recipes too. The holidays are around the corner. But I wanted to start at the beginning. I know what it was for me and for my wife as to why we wanted to change our kitchen. But, other than just wanting to change, what are some signs that maybe it's time to change when it comes to your kitchen?
You mean besides the doors and the drawer fronts actually falling off?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's not far from it. With us, I think you go blind a little bit to your own surroundings sometimes. And we had big dings and scratches. The layout wasn't exactly the way we wanted it in some areas. There was things, so they were pretty obvious for us. But what are some other things?
Well, a lot of people want to improve the space or the layout of their kitchen. So we have the ability to change the way that maybe the blind corner is. We can put a lazy Susan in or something easier access into the corner. Very common in cabinet refacing is we'll take the doors off of the base cabinets and change them out to drawers. So instead of opening doors to even get to a pull-out, we'll just put drawers in there, deep drawers for pots and pans, which is really helpful if you like to cook.
Yeah, that was another thing. It's not just the surface. Aesthetics, you guys got it hands down. Easy peasy. The aesthetic is there. It's instantaneous. What surprised me was when Amber, our designer, came to our location. She looked through things and she said, "Hey, the way these doors open, it's really not convenient. Do they ever bug you?" And we're like, "Yes." And she said, "Well, this is what we'll do. We're going to change this, and we're going to make these drawers that all come out at the same time as separate individual drawers." So even though that didn't change the footprint, let's say, of our kitchen, it ended up changing the functionality of the kitchen in a way that I was surprised by. Do you find that a lot?
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't realize when they're actually getting into it. So I'm in our design center today, and hopefully I'll get to move around and show everybody things. And I know you're at home, but when you come into one of our design centers and you meet with our designers, they show you all the different bells and whistles you can get into a kitchen. And what happens is you walk through the showroom and you see what's possible. You realize some of the things you may be lacking, such as you just the pullouts in the drawers or a trash rollout. If you look at this kitchen I'm at right now, we have deep drawers, and that makes a big difference with the pots and pans. Underneath the cooktop, we do deep drawers. And then we have things like a lazy Susan, which is really nice to have in the blind corner, easier to get things so you don't have to bend down. And what we're finding is that as we stay home and we're mingling as a family, we want to upgrade because we're spending more time in the kitchen in these common areas than we did before.
Yes, that brings us to these let's say interesting times of 2020. And there's a shift, I think a good shift. I think there's a familial shift in a lot of ways to spending time with the family, um, gathering around the family table, things that you and I might have grown up with, but some people aren't doing. We even got rid of our dining room here to make it a play area for our son Max, because we just didn't use the formal dining room that much. But I'll tell you what ends up happening is that's even more time that you're spending in the kitchen, whether it's chatting by the sink, having a snack, cooking, whatever it is. Um, During the pandemic, we're finding studies and stuff we talked about on the Fork Report. We're finding that people are really cooking more, they're baking more, they're utilizing their kitchen, and it's not just something you have for 2 or 3 times a year when you have family over. It has legitimately been the gathering place and a safety and security place for people during the pandemic. Are you finding people
See,
looking
so,
for different amenities, Anthony? Are they looking for uh, different tech? Or are they looking just for an aesthetic? What is it? What are some of the trends that you're seeing with people requesting these things now?
well, it's a combination of a lot of things, and I think what we have here is you were a pioneer in the Fork Report, expressing to everyone how fun cooking is and how great it is for the family, and now everyone's getting to experience it as well. I'm a little disappointed you're not here with me today, and I don't get to experience some of the things you can make. But we have our team over here making some fun treats for everyone that's going to come into our
Oh, yeah.
showroom and design center and see stuff.
Diana and Allie are out there.
Yeah.
They're making some of the favorite family recipes. So you've got bacon wrapped dates, one of my personal favorites. You got buffalo chicken dip. So they're there for anybody who wants to stop by. The showroom is open till 4 p.m. today there in Anaheim. I recommend it. You can even see, I'll show some in a little bit, but you'll even see the inspiration that stopped me cold in my tracks. When you walk in right to the right there, you'll see a vignette kitchen with blue cabinets that my wife and I fell in love with. So you can pop in, get those things. So
Yeah. So let me get back to your question. So
people are coming in, and
people are coming in. They're discovering that they want to update colors. Like you did. You wanted to put the blue kitchen in, the whites, the grays. It's not just about updating the colors, though. We're finding that people want to upgrade their appliances. They're going to be spending more time. People are converting from electric to gas in some cases. They're putting higher BTU ranges in because they realize that what they're wanting to experience is more, now that they're home with the whole family, is more than what they used to do with a quick cook before kids' sports. I have 4 children. I know you have a 4-year-old, and we're home now where we used to be out doing sports and different things, but the family gets to spend more time together in the kitchen, which is really great. But we need to have that environment conducive to everyone being together. So we're also taking things like peninsulas out, and we're building islands and creating a great room for a lot of our clients because they want everybody to be together and everyone to experience, life in one room now.
Yeah, Anthony, you mentioned a couple things that I want to touch on too. You talk about BTUs, the British thermal units. So for people that don't know, that is the amount of output. In this case, it's heat, the heat that's coming out, and why that makes a difference. There's a lot of times you can go, let's call them big box stores, whatever. You can see ranges, or you can see grills, or you can see things that look similar on the outside. So you assume that everything on the inside is the same. When you talk about a gas oven versus an electric oven, a gas stove versus electric, all these things play a part. Personally, for me, someone who likes to cook, I got a gas range and an electric oven. And that gives even cooking and baking for me in the oven, but also gives me the control as someone who likes to cook of having those BTUs. That's the output of heat. So, for instance, if you are, taking time trying to boil water and it's taking forever, or things like, or you can't get the high enough heat for, let's say, wok or stir fry, that means you need more BTUs. And those are the questions you should be asking when you go into Reborn. Those are the things that you should be asking about based on your style of cooking. So that's a really powerful.
Not only that, but those are the things that our designers are going to bring out and talk to you about when you come in. You're a little bit more, you're a lot more knowledgeable than the average consumer that comes in because of your cooking experience.
Anthony.
But
Stop it.
I didn't want to say this, but aside from, I don't want to hurt Gary's feelings, but the Fork Report is one of my favorite shows. And it's not just because we're in the kitchen business. And I wouldn't just say that if I was on his show. But when the homeowner comes in and they talk to one of our designers about what it is, their dislikes, their likes, and we go through a process and talking about how often you cook, what you cook, as you know, that's important, Neil, to decide on what kind of appliances you're going to get. Now, one of the nice things about cabinet refacing is, let's say you're going to change your wall oven, or you have an old 24-inch wide wall oven. We can change that wall oven. I'll swing you over here. Come over here with me, and we can change it into a much larger opening. We can reface the existing structure and still reconfigure for a new wall oven without ripping out all of the cabinets, which is something we do often and clients really like.
On that note, so from a personal standpoint, not only was color and the palette something that was important to my wife and me, there's some cool options that people might not think about. For us, not only the color blue was really powerful, but you can get a glazing, which actually causes a contrast, goes in the nooks and crannies, and the detail and architecture of the door that makes it pop and gives us a secondary color to enhance the kitchen by finding ways to play with wood colors that balance off it. So that's a given. One of the other things that really made me fall in love, and people ask, why do you endorse one company over the other? I have a big thing. I'm a sucker for family-owned businesses, and run businesses like Reborn. But the value, everybody goes, when you're younger, it's all about just how cheap something is. As you get older, you go, you know what? I don't want to replace this every year, every 2 years. So you go to value. How far is my money going to run? So when I looked at refacing, we didn't need to change a lot as far as structure. So we looked to refacing, the signature refacing there at Reborn. The thickness and the quality of the material was like none other. And I've walked into many places and I've checked out how the process is done. The thickness, the quality of it, the surface color and how it's applied, and the durability of it is like nothing else. And explain why Reborn.
I'm gonna walk you over through our showroom, and I'm gonna show you a reface, kind of give you an idea. And as we pass through, you'll see folks over here making some of the food. You mentioned Allie and Diana and my dad, the founder of the company. But I'm gonna bring you over here, and we can see the kitchen that was the inspiration for you.
Don't
this
give
blue
your
kitchen.
dad the microphone, Anthony.
Yeah,
you
notice I walked past him as fast as I could. I'll bring you over here and I'll show you a reface. You're right. One of some of the unique characteristics of the reface that we do is I can bring you on this side of me. We do a 1/4 inch veneer on the cabinets, which is actually a 1/4 inch thick. And we put that on the exterior surface of the cabinet on our refacing. We cover the bottoms, we cover the sides, and we do a mitered outside vertical edge, which is unique to us. And we do that because we want, if you step back and you look at this kitchen, it looks like it's a brand new kitchen, but it's refaced. In fact, some of the vignettes that I passed on the way over here are actually refaced. And I know it's hard to see when I'm moving very fast, but they're refaced and you can't tell the difference. So you can see here, and one of the nice things I know that my brother likes to talk about is the Marriage Saver drawer, where it's soft close. That's a characteristic that is very nice on new kitchens and refacing. Soft closed doors. The doors close soft, so there's no more slamming anymore. So when you're at home, during the pandemic and everyone's running around, your 4-year-old's not going to slam the doors. And more importantly, when my wife is yelling at me, I'm not going to slam any doors.
Yeah, we joke about that here at the house. That this is what a fight looks like around the house now. Are you kidding me? I can't believe you'd say that.
And it diffuses the whole situation.
And then you end up laughing.
Yeah.
Actually, my wife and I aren't real big fighters, but we do joke about the fact that you can't slam anything in our kitchen anymore. So the quality of the materials, the surface. Now, people might hear certain terms, but people will think immediately when it comes to cabinets, you're either going to deal with stain or you're going to deal with paint. But that's not true. Right. There is techniques and surfacing that you guys use, but the thickness of it changes the quality of it. So explain what that is.
So what you're seeing now is a video of our manufacturing facility. One of the nice things, we have a lot of control over the materials and that we use because we manufacture here in Anaheim. We use a conversion varnish finish on our outside surfaces that surprisingly you could put paint remover on and it wouldn't take it off. And that's one of our trademarks that is very near and dear to us. My dad's started this company 40 years ago, and we noticed over the years that the finish was starting to come off when you use lacquers. So we converted to a conversion varnish because 40 years later we want to make sure that people have something that could last a lifetime for them. And so that's not a lot of people use that, but we're able to do that in our cabinet refacing. And what you're seeing right now is our spray department, our automated finish line, so everything's consistent. And it really is like a piano finish when it comes out. And the fact that the whites and the grays and the blues, like you picked, are very important. It's important to do that in a controlled environment so you don't get pitting and you have consistency like a car finish. And we take a lot of pride in that.
People that know me and follow me on social media and the show and stuff know that I'm a maker. I love making things. I have a shop here at the house. And one of the greatest things was to go through that factory that we just showed everyone and to see how the things were made and to hear the excitement with you and the family members and those that work there, the technicians and the artisans that are in there really making these things pop. I geeked out. The whole process watching was really cool. I want to take a second to bring Gary back and have him talk about walk through his kitchen and talk about why he and his wife made the decisions they made for their kitchen. So if we can bring Gary back in, I'd love to hear some of that.
Okay, so this is an opportunity for me to walk you through my kitchen and tell you kind of what it is that we did with Reborn Cabinets. Now, I'll try to impose a picture, see if I can click on the right thing and get a picture up there and you can get an idea of what the old kitchen looked like. You could see the old yellow oak and you could see the green paint. We had to get rid of that. They didn't bother with that. But the old oak cabinets were definitely not something that we were going to live with because this was going to be a home that we wanted to really put our signature and our stamp on. So we call Reborn Cabinets and one of their designers comes in and we sit down and go over a bunch of different options. So starting over here, there was a double oven in here before and we wanted to keep it a double oven just for my wife's cookie baking. That's the only reason. And since the hole was already here, it had to be changed just a slight bit. The cabinet had to be altered. Reborn Cabinets come in, alters it exactly to the specifications of this oven. The doors themselves, as you can see, these are all brand new doors with great hinges that you cannot slam as much as you try. And trust me, my mother tries whenever she's here. Those will save marriages and probably family relationships. Everything else that you see has been refaced in some way through the signature refacing process. Not the doors are new, but they are matching the panel that goes on above the boxes that is glued on, pasted on, however you want to call it, whatever magic they use, I'm not sure. We go over to the cooktop. Cooktop is a new cooktop to us because the old one had been there for 20 years and was starting to show some signs of life, if you want to call it that. But they also had a microwave above the range, which was pretty common, but we wanted to free that space up. We wanted this to look more like a centerpiece to the kitchen, especially from across the room. Reborn Cabinets designed and built this for us custom. Part of the reason that they did that was because a range hood this size would have cost several $1,000s if you were to buy it off the shelf or have it designed and built by someone else. So they were able to come in and give us this hood with its own fan system and everything for a much better price. We went with some of the glass doors also. Obviously they weren't here before, and these glass doors give us an opportunity to show off some of our plates, dishware, whatever we choose, and we know that that's going to be a big deal when we ever sell the house. Same thing over here with the cabinets themselves, basically the same footprint and same design of the original kitchen, just cleaning it up, making it nicer, making it lighter. And my wife said she chose these light cabinets, nice neutral colors, so that whenever you have a pop of color, I don't know what that means, but she says it all the time, it's a good thing. The only major difference between the new kitchen that we have and the one that we had before is right here. We took down an entire cabinet because there's plenty of storage, as you can see. And we wanted to be able to display some fun stuff in the kitchen. So The cabinet was removed. They prepped the wall for painting and everything, just like it would be a normal wall. The other thing we did was there were 4 drawers right down here, and we changed that to a garbage and recycling pullout. Easy access to the rest of the kitchen, easy access to outdoors as well. And if you come over here, you can see the side of the island also is the gray that matches the hood. But we decided to go with this as part of the ongoing conversations with our designer from Reborn, as just a nice difference between the white of the cabinets, the gray of the island, matching with the wood top on the island. All of this was put together and reformulated a couple of times by us and by our designers. And as you can see, I think we're pretty happy with it.
But you know, when Gary first showed me those pictures of what you guys did, the transformation. People don't understand. I think they live with what they have and they forget there's so much you can do to make this space more livable and enjoyable. You could see the personal accents and the touches that Gary and Shannon, his wife, brought to literally to the table there. And the things from the frosted glass to see a hint of the organization and the usable stoneware and all of those things add the lighting. Talk about that for a second. How important is the lighting in a kitchen?
Well, you know, it's funny how all of this ties together, and I just wanted to show you a couple of things in this vignette that I'm standing in front of. One of the things Gary mentioned, I know you're going to show your kitchen, which I really hope you do. A lot of people are doing different surfaces. So we do a lot of pendant, if you could step back just a little bit, we do a lot of pendant fixtures now above islands or cooking surfaces or peninsulas, just because it gives it a little bit more accent and it really makes it pop. You'll also notice that a lot of the things are contemporary now. We use whites and grays. You can see that the island on this particular vignette is gray and the rest of the cabinets are white. And you also can see that the countertop surface on the island is a different color than the countertop surface on the rest of the cabinets. In Gary's kitchen, he had a wood top on the island and then the rest of the surface was stone. So that's not uncommon. Like in your kitchen, your backsplash is different than your decks. Yeah. And we have in this cabinet, you see the lights up here that are accenting the items above and the cabinet above. We have under cabinet lighting. LED lighting is very important. It cuts down on electricity. And so we do a lot of LED lighting cabinets. All these lights that you see in our showroom are LED, the can lights in the ceiling. So the lighting does play an important role because it makes everything pop. And you'd be surprised that when you update the lighting in someone's home, what they say to us afterwards is, wow, we can't believe it's just so much brighter in here. It's more inviting for everyone. And so that's why the lighting and all those other things tie together so well.
Yeah, you know, the pendant lights that you're talking about, and this is another thing, with people going out less, even if we're supporting local, and I encourage people to do that, obviously, on the forecourt, to support local businesses, restaurants, and eateries, with takeout, what have you. The experience of eating out is still important, the warmth, the design. So when you talk about pendant lights, those are incredibly popular when you go to like a chef's table, or they have the chef's bar, or what they call an open kitchen, where you could sit and watch the chefs do their thing and making your meal. The pendant lights were there. When you would go to a bar, upscale or otherwise, and they want you to have that warmth, those pendant lights are there. Those things add not only the architecture and kind of a waterfall or a light separation between certain areas, but like you said, they don't block the whole area. They still let you see and experience. And
the lights are there so they can accent those surfaces. You know, when you're watching what they're cooking, it's specific in how they've created that atmosphere. And that's kind of what we're doing in the kitchen. We're creating and we're highlighting areas that we want people to be able to focus on when they're together as a family.
You know, just pan through that vignette, that kitchen right there.
Look at the kitchen right here.
And I want people to look at the little accent lights that you see in those the cupboards up top.
Up here,
or
right.
So we
have. So we can, in a refaced environment, we can create this. If you go up just a little bit, you can see that we have lights inside the cabinet that come through the glass. The upper part of the glass door just gives it enough accent, and we didn't create glass on the bottom section of the doors. So it gives it a little style as well. And then we also have the under cabinet lights that accent everything on the countertop.
just stunning. And the fun thing about LEDs, which have come a long way. LED is an abbreviation of what they call light emitting diodes, and they're pretty spectacular in the fact that they use very little energy. And now they can come in different, not only different colors, but temperatures. So do you talk to people? Here's the fancy term, kelvins. Kelvins is the warmth of the light. And so if you ever see a light that just bothers you, it might be the wrong warmth. And that's something to think about when you put the lighting in, correct?
Yeah, that's interesting, because even fluorescent lights, that we used to use in kitchens, they would produce a yellow light, a different light hue on the cabinet surfaces, where the LED lights, and you're right, you can have 1,000, 3,000, whatever the Kelvin is,
yeah.
And it produces a different, it's really, the heat, but the white that we see in the kitchen. And so we have to be careful of that, because sometimes it's so overwhelming for people that haven't been exposed to that. They're like, wow, I didn't even know this existed. It's a lot like getting the lights around your vanity mirror when you're putting your makeup on, and you flip them on and you say, well, wait a minute, we're getting older. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
So it brings all that to light.
Yeah, look at this setup here. So I can change, because we're constantly doing all these different I can change the lighting at any given moment. And these I actually have set at about 3,500 Kelvin, which is when you get into, like, when you sit by a fire, and there's something about the warmth of that makes you feel comforted. You can do that with your lights here too. If you want that warmth in those upper cabinets, but you want maybe a brighter, whiter, bluer light to be able to do your cooking, whatever it is, keep these things in mind. Talk to your designers about that. I want to remind people, by the way, Anthony, that not only is the showroom open today there in Anaheim till 4 o'clock. Run away.
Neil.
Vinny, how are you?
So those of those that are watching that, Reborn is a family business. Family is very important to us. This is my dad. This is the founder. I know you, Neil. You know who he is, but we'll just say hi to the listeners. Say hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
I'm going to pan through back here, Neil, while you continue talking.
Neil, we're talking about lights. Reborn is the light of the world.
So, I love that, man.
I just wanted to show, normally we have our Learn from the Pros event. You come down, we talk about all the styles. I wanted to come through a couple of different vignettes to show, we've showed a lot of contemporary kitchens, but, traditional is still in. People still like traditional kitchens. We have one over here that has quite a lot of ornate moldings. Come over here, this side. And you can see the hood on this cabinet and the detail on the crown molding, still under cabinet lights.
Wow, look at that stunner.
So we're doing all different types of colors and styles, traditional, contemporary. You can mix and match. You saw the gray and the white together. But you really need to come down to a design center to get an idea and get a feel, whether it's Reborn's or whoever's design center you come to. The listeners that are watching and they're thinking about doing something to their home and they want to do home improvements, I really encourage you to get out and see things. Because as you said earlier when we were talking, Neil, once you get out and you experience some of the things that are available that you didn't know were available, that you can't get a sense until you get to touch and feel. We talk about the microwave, the under cabinet microwave.
Oh yeah.
This is something not a lot of people have experienced.
Yeah, those drawer microwaves incoming. Those drawers on your 6.
Neil.
Let him finish what he's saying.
He is gonna put you over his knee in front of everybody and show you who's boss. Vinny, we're talking about these gorgeous kitchens you've got there.
He's talking about the gorge. Talk about the kitchens.
Can I?
Yeah, he can't hear you because I have my earpiece in.
Neil, I want you to understand, when you cook in a beautiful kitchen like this, you have a tendency to cook with love. And that love comes across into the food.
So what you're trying to say is that a kitchen from Reborn betters your environment and creates a more harmonious family,
yes.
Brings love.
It brings love to the family.
See that? Just standing here just does it for us.
That's why we always cook in a Reborn kitchen. We got love and harmony. and the food comes out. Mwah! Come bella. If you don't cook with a Reborn kitchen, you're missing out on a lot.
Neil knows. Neil has a Reborn kitchen.
But good. Neil, I like the way you cook because you're a religious cook. Everything is a burnt offering or a sacrifice. Love you, baby.
All right, follow me through here.
Vinny, that guy is wonderfully nuts.
He is.
You know,
He is
I
fun.
do want to talk about that a little bit, Anthony, for a second. Is
Sure.
the holidays are coming, and although they may be different, you know, we're still going to have them. Family's going to be important, whether it's the immediate people in your home or not. And I want people to think about that kitchen space. Your dad's a doll. He's hilarious and a character, but he's absolutely right. When you're picking out the cabinets, it's a creative space. I'm huge about this. My wife, it drives her nuts because of my artistic side. I need spaces to be creative. And my kitchen has to kind of talk to me. It has to motivate me to want to create. So this holiday season, if you are in the mind, I'm not here to sell you a kitchen. If you get a kitchen or don't get a kitchen, that's up to you. What I am here to tell you that if you are going to get a kitchen, my personal choice is Reborn Cabinets. So if you're thinking about it, at least check them out and talk to them. Here's what they did for me. They created a space, a creative space that when I walk into it now, I feel like cooking and I feel like doing things for my family. I feel like, you know, gathering the smell. If you don't know what to cook, throw onions in a pan, man. There's nothing like it, little sauteed onions to make you start thinking, maybe I'll put this into a stew. Maybe I'll put it as a topping on top of a steak or even a good juicy burger. There is something about having that space during the holidays. Keep in mind the flow of your kitchen. If you have any questions, if you're just going to do signature refacing, which I highly recommend, that's great, but it doesn't mean you can't still customize or change something. So keep those things in mind. Have areas for people to get their drinks that aren't in the way of you cooking. Think about the flow of the kitchen. If you have a pass-through, if you have an island, think about using these things as serving areas to keep the flow or activities moving that don't impede on you cooking.
That's a great point. Neil, I want you to show your kitchen so they can see how yours opens up into the other rooms of the house.
Yes,
when you have your sons running around, that's a great point. I'm going
to walk in here, but I got to tell you, in addition to having our kitchen done, we are actually redoing the house. And when you have a 108-year-old house, you restore it. We're not remodeling per se, we're restoring. So all the plaster is being redone. The wood is being pulled off and lovingly restored back to it. So that's why we haven't shown a lot of the kitchen, is because we're, the pass-through there has still got the wood that needs to be done and things like that. But what you can see is
I love those colors. They pop.
This beautiful area here didn't exist before. It didn't go up to the top and it didn't go down the side like that. Those were open areas that you folks closed. If you see here, the way it meets the ceiling is just stunning. Same over here. This here is one of my favorite things, Anthony. You folks grew the size of these cabinets to basically build in the refrigerator. Look how stunning that is.
Neil, I got to tell you, I wish my dad could hear you, because that's one of the things that he loves to talk about, is how you bring the cabinets out over the refrigerator so you can get to the items that are above the refrigerator, because typically it's only 12 inches deep.
That was my idea.
Oh, it's
Neil,
stunning what you folks did.
I approve this commercial.
It is. So back to what we were talking about with the island. If you look at what they're doing in here, and you see that the workflow is important. I mean, Neil, you cook, so you get it, but you have to be able to make sure that when you go in and you get to the sink, you're not impeding anyone's direction. The oven and the refrigerator on the outside, and this is a smaller vignette, but when our designers come out, they talk about those things. And even during a reface, you can do those things. Some of the other unique things that you can get. There's a wine serving station. Neil, I'm sure you have one of these. Wine and whiskey somewhere.
It's next to the bed. It's like a big
next
hat
to the bed, right?
with straws in it, but it's similar.
and a wine refrigerator below. So there's a lot of unique things that we can do, but I want you to show them your range area, how you can walk right past
but
it.
Anthony, what you're saying there, this is what's important. Some people might look at that and go, I don't need that. It's not for you then. There are some people that the style, the way they entertain or the way they enjoy their life, like, you know, over here, this is something you're not going to find in a lot of kitchens. This is for making French fries, fresh French fries. So that's my thing. You may not want it.
I
You
love
may not
that.
need a winemaker or a wine. So you can see that the backsplash has not been put in yet because the walls had to be replastered. But the way this looks here and the transformation, I know we have pictures before if they want to pop them up, but this is the way this comes together, and this top, this is black walnut, but
Beautiful.
it goes with the glazing. You can see the glazing in these areas that are just stunning. And being able to choose the knobs, everything, the elongated here, also the way you set up our drawer system is fantastic.
Those drawers are a hold 100 pounds as they're pulled out.
Oh, and it's great. I have all my rubs. Let's see, see that? My rubs. This is barbecue sauces, things like that. Bone broth. When it comes to different oils and my vinegars and balsamics, this is up here. This is all salts. These are all different kinds of salts. So the organization changed. You did things like this over here. If I can get over there. You built a custom cabinet for me in a space where my wife and I hate it because it was not usable. So
that's a good point, Neil. We reface and we can do a custom cabinet next to it, and it still looks like it's new.
So here's the thing: when people think, well, I like the general layout of my kitchen. Great. So did we. Were there spots that we wanted fixed? Yep. Going to the ceiling, going to the walls in some area where they were, let's say they were, what's a nice way to put this? They were off the rack cabinets. So the kitchen being 108 years old, it wasn't designed as a place for everybody. Back in those days, they walled it off. They put it in a corner. It was tiny and you didn't entertain in there. Today is different. Right. So it's been, the footprint was changed of the kitchen. They knocked out walls. They made it different. In that process, some of the nooks and crannies are a little strange. They're not standard sizing, maybe. So you folks came in, Reborn came in and completely custom fit everything to make it look custom and look like it fit there. They redesigned cabinets to work differently, drawers to work differently. The quality and the thickness of those drawer boxes are amazing. The quality of all the hardware, amazing. The
check this out, Neil.
Close system, everything.
Wait, look at this. Some different things you can do.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And this actually is a soft open and soft close. See that?
Wow. And you can pretend like you're on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Pretend like you're
we have tile back here in this open area with the open shelf.
No, I dig that. And this may seem small to some, but really those are the differences with keepsakes, with your fine china, whatever it is, whatever you want in your kitchen. This is the time to think about how to design it.
Yeah. And it's a good, and like you said earlier, the wine server may not be for you. Maybe you want a French fry maker, and some of these things may not be for you, but it's important to be able to get out and see showrooms so you can see what is available. That way you can get an idea of what you might not like. I don't know if we have a trash rollout inside this display, but trash rollouts where you can do recyclables. A lot of people don't use, trash compactors are a thing of the past. So we pull those out. We can put a cabinet in place, even with a reface. And you can have your recyclable separate now. The counter surfaces. The other part of this that we like to tell people, so we have our Learn from the Pros event that we obviously can't have right now because of the pandemic, but we want people to understand what it's like to hire a remodeling contractor and and what that process is like and what you should look for. And, Reborn's not the only company to get a kitchen from. We hope everyone wants to, and we're glad that you guys at KFI did, and we appreciate that. But it's important for a consumer to really, for your listeners, to do their due diligence and check the contractor's board, check reviews, talk to your friends and neighbors, see how many projects they've done, see what awards they've received, and see how they're manufacturing their product. The manufacturing facility that we showed you is very important. So we have the ability, you mentioned the off-the-shelf cabinets. We have the ability that if something goes wrong, we can quickly identify it and react and fix it because we manufacture all of our products in our own facility. And that's really important because you don't want to be without things for a long time.
A couple of things. I want to remind people the showroom there in Anaheim is open to 4 p.m. if you want to go by. Of course, folks are there. Diana and Allie, I believe, are over there cooking away too. If you want to try sample some of their fun appetizers like bacon wrapped figs, one of my faves. Also, there is a sweepstakes going on, and we're going to post that information for you to participate in the sweepstakes. Anthony, do you want to explain what the sweepstakes is?
So we have a $25,000 giveaway that we do every November, and we have a giant wheel in the front with a whole bunch of entries. And we used to do it live where everybody would come and see the actual drawing, but we do it for a kitchen and a bath, and we encourage everyone to enter. Now, if you go to our website, reborncabinets.com, I think /sweepstakes. But if you go onto the website, you'll see a link to enter and get into that entry. And it's fantastic. We do it every year, and people really love it. We love seeing their faces when they win.
Yeah, it's a generous sweepstake indeed. When we were talking about, you had mentioned about if there is, any hiccups whatsoever, you're in control of everything there at Reborn with the factory. I also want to add this. 2020 has brought us some interesting things, one of which is the pandemic that we're currently going through. And in addition to following all the CDC guidelines and everything there at the showrooms, you guys are open, an essential business, of course, because the things that you bring to a home are imperative, construction, those types of things. However, there is a lot of manufacturing that has slowed down because of COVID. Let's say you have manufacturing people that are less than 6 feet apart, building or in a factory. They've had to cut that in half, slowing down process. Parts or things that may come from other areas slow down the process. That doesn't play a part with what you guys do because it is your factory.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a couple things that we do. It's very important that you brought that up. COVID has, we have to be sensitive to how people feel. In fact, I have to be sensitive to how our team feels when they have to go into someone's home. So a couple of things that we've done at Reborn is, you see this little button here. It's the color of the day. Everyone that's around me has a mask on, but every team member that comes into our facilities in the morning, and they all do, the installers, sales, we have about 500 people that are affiliated with Reborn in all of our locations, but they get the color of the day because they're getting their temperature taken, and we're making sure that they're healthy and that they're available to go into a customer's home. Another thing we do is I get involved with all of the installers every morning, and we have a quick 15-minute meeting to see how everyone's feeling, to see that everyone has their PPE, to see that they're being sensitive to the client's concerns. They have their booties, they're wearing gloves, they have hand sanitizer. I'll show you one of the masks that we have. If I can pull it out of my drawer, we have our Reborn Cares masks that our installers wear when they come into a customer's home. But to the other part of what has happened with things in the supply chain, because of the pandemic, the supply chain has really been disrupted for a lot of companies. But because we manufacture the product ourselves, we have a lot of control over the supply chain. Because in essence, we're the wholesale manufacturer, and we are the supplier of all the products. So we don't really rely on one source for our products. And because of our volume, we're able to control a little bit more of that supply chain. Our suppliers would really generally favor us and take care of us because they've been our partners for a long time. And that's allowed us to really stay in control of the project for the consumer.
Staying in control, that actually brings me to one of the things that I learned going to many of your in-person seminars. And I was blown away that it wasn't a sales pitch. It was absolutely a classroom environment, more fun than a classroom, but a classroom environment. And that there was a lot of information that was given. And I'd like you to give a couple of these points looking for the right contractor, pitfalls to stay away from, one-day bath remodeling, and things like this that people hear. What's the reality? What are the fables?
Well, the reality is that there's a lot of contractors out there that aren't reliable, and even during a pandemic like this, when people are
I've
surprisingly,
never heard of such a thing.
I know
Contractors always have the best reputation.
Generally, people think that we're just the greatest in the world. I know. So one of the things that we've done at Reborn is we've really tried to erase that negative stigma associated with contractors, because there's a lot of people that are shady out there with Craigslist or all the different avenues that you can find somebody. First thing you have to look at, are they licensed? Are they licensed in the trade that they're going to perform? So we have a B, which is a general contractor's license. So I can move walls, I can build a house with our license. And then we have a C6, which is for cabinets and millwork. So I can go in and just do the cabinets. But we have our bathroom remodeling division. We have our kitchen division. We have our window division. So we're able to do all trades. And the other part of that, I want to take back to what you said about the salesmanship. We don't want to be salesy with a customer, and we like to do our Learn from the Pros seminars because we want people to really understand. We feel that it's our social responsibility to educate people. You hear my dad in the background, to educate the public. And you saw my dad interact with me, and that's really what it's like at Reborn. We have a lot of fun, but we want to educate people as much as we can. And when you look at the ads that you see from a lot of companies, you'll find that they're not licensed. They're not licensed in the trade that they're going to perform. And then when you go and check the license numbers you see on the Contractors Board's website, cslb.ca.gov, you may find that the license is expired, or it has had injunctions against it for things that they have done that haven't been credible. So that's one thing that we really talk about with the consumers, and we educate them in our Learn from the Pros event.
Do you have extra thick masks there for Vinny? Like soundproofing, or no? I was just curious. It's one big Vinny buck.
I wish I had a Vinny buck that I could show you. Do you have any Vinny bucks with you? We'll show everybody what a Vinny buck is. So if you come to a Learn from the Pros event, he's gonna pull one out of his wallet. You'll get to have a Vinny buck. He does. Of course he does. Push that more into the camera.
Oh my gosh. Look at that.
So a Vinny buck is $100 off, but I will tell you that we have other offers available right now for our customers that we'll talk about a little later. But if you come into one of our seminars, come into our showroom today, and you get a Vinny buck.
You could trust that face. That face, you could trust it.
You didn't know you were going to get all this today, Neil.
I will tell you.
I'll give you this one. I can put you on the back.
You can put my back on the back. You put my fanny right there. The funny thing about my dad is his face and my face was built in the kitchen. That's we like to eat, the two of us. All right.
Yes.
I want window replacement updates, functionality of home. Cover that very quickly, if you would.
Well, we do. So we have a one-day bathroom replacement and a one-day window replacement. We go in and replace up to 10 to 12 windows, replacement windows, vinyl windows in a day. And one of the things that we like to do is get in and out of the home as fast as possible, because we really don't want to disrupt people. With a kitchen, it's a little bit more difficult. You're spending, our reface is maybe 3 days. When you do the countertops, it could extend about a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how intricate things are going to be with electrical and lighting. But our one-day bath program and our one-day window program really are great if you're just wanting quick in and out and you don't want to be disrupted.
Yeah, and the process really, academically, I'll explain what I do as an endorser. My goal is not to tell you need tires. My goal is to say, if you need tires, because if you don't need tires, you don't give a rodents behind. But is not to say you need tires right now, but to say, if you're going to get tires, these are the best tires. So when it comes to things like this, I want people to know the quality. I did the homework. I did the academic walkthrough. I kicked the tires even before. Talked to people that had done it, talked to Gary. But going through the actual process, I will tell you, Anthony, having you come into my home, seeing the way the work is done, the questions that are asked, the fine touches and the finishing between the designer, between the engineer, between the installers. It really is a fantastic operation. You should be proud, and I know you are. But I was impressed from head to toe.
Well, I appreciate that you're saying all those nice things about us. And when you're dealing with a remodeling contractor, something else that people should look at is you have to look at the environment, because if the people that are there aren't happy and the culture isn't positive, you're probably not going to get a good result. And as you see with my dad, and if anyone was to come into one of our facilities at any time during the day, culture is huge for us. Family's big for us. And that's just the way that we treat everyone. And we like to treat our customers that way. We have core values like a lot of companies do. And one of them is the Vinny principle, which is to treat each family's home as if it were your own. And that's just what my dad has always wanted us to do. That's his big mantra, is you got to make people feel comfortable. I mean, you want to see what we're dealing with here? This is every day. So that's what I have to look at in the background when I'm talking. But I do want, I just want to say something real quick about bathrooms. When you're doing a bathroom remodel, a lot of people are aging in place. They're getting older. I don't want to say anything about my dad, but they're getting older. And what we'll do is we'll do a low threshold shower pan that we can replace in your existing bathroom. We do a lot of from tub to shower conversions. Seats are very important. Grab bars are very important for people.
Sure.
And surprisingly, what I'm standing in front of, any of these vignettes, we do this in one day. We come in the morning and we'll replace it. By the afternoon, it's all done. So in case you didn't know, you can put your foot up there and shave it. Every day, folks. This is every day. It's surprising we get anything done.
I've had the pleasure, Anthony, of being there for certain occasions, whether it be birthdays or celebratory things for staff and crew. It really is like this all the time. I think now would be a good time to hear from Gary again, talk about what he learned from the process and see some of those testimonials. So if we can bring Gary back in.
Gary back?
And if he's not too
Otherwise,
busy,
you're going to be looking at this.
Yeah. So wrong with that man. We're going to have to 5150 his butt.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can, if the technical wizards that be can bring in Gary talking about his process and the things that he went through, and also hearing some of the testimonials. So you're not just hearing it from me, you get to hear it from others as well.
Hey, while they're teeing that up, let's make sure the listeners get down here and come to our showroom and get some of that great food that they're cooking and see and meet people. You can see Vinny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Vinny is contagious, more contagious than the pandemic. His attitude towards life, his loving nature, he really is a fun guy. And I'm sure that you have stories on stories on stories, you and your brother, about growing up with him. He's what's funny is your mom, God bless her, it seems like just a strong pillar, straightforward individual, and she's got this nut for a husband.
So I'm gonna show you. Well, I'm gonna show everybody why you want Reborn. You do not want to do this on your own.
Oh my!
That's the sign of a cabinet maker right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me show you my foot.
That.
Wow. Well, needless to say, things that your techniques have gotten better over the years, apparently.
Yes, the equipment and the safety is different than it used to be.
So, did he hit his head as well, or just the fingers?
Wood right into the head.
All right. Well, they're getting some of Gary's stuff. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to talk about the exclusive offer.
Yeah, I was gonna get. Let me get that, and I'm gonna talk to you about some of the offers that we have. I had to write that down. We actually have different offers at different times, and we have to get Vinny's approval for some of these offers. But one of the offers that we have right now is 12 months, no payments, no interest on a remodel, which is great. So what we have found is, come in here. The nice thing about that is you could buy a kitchen now, we're in October, and not pay for it until next October.
What? Are you crazy? Holy, you're gonna pay for it. You need the money, honey.
We have 12 months, no payments, no interest.
Wow.
Half off installation. To cover his ears. Half off installation. And one thing, because the KFI listeners, your listeners, Neil, and Gary's listeners, we are offering 10 free drawers and pullouts with the soft close,
Oh, you might as well
which
take
is
the whole
the
shop.
soft close that I showed you, which is really nice.
Awesome.
This one's
Yeah,
full,
which is
but you
what
see the
we
soft
got.
close on it.
Hey, Anthony,
I
let's.
think
I think
KFI
we're
will pay
ready
for some of that.
to get some of those testimonials now. So let's see what we can pull up.
My name's Dana Mundy, and I heard about Reborn Cabinets as a result of working for KFI Radio. And several of the hosts on KFI have utilized their services, and we're very, very pleased. One in particular is Gary Hoffman, and I spoke with him at length about the process that he went through when they bought their new house and remodeled their kitchen, and he was very, very impressed with the way everything was done. And I was looking for a referral because this was going to be the 4th kitchen that I've redone in 5 years. And everyone prior to that has been kind of a nightmare. And so I wanted to find someone who could come highly recommended and did great work. So I spoke at length with Gary Hoffman about Reborn Cabinets, and he had nothing but accolades about it, everything they did and their work product and everything. And he gave me the name of Lisa with Reborn to contact, which I did. And she was very, very accommodating, and came out, helped design our kitchen, design how we wanted it to, the finished product to look. And then we ultimately moved forward. And we had a designer come out who helped us with designing the design of the cabinet doors, and if we wanted to change any of the layout or what our options were with various things. And he was very good. I mean, he literally was here for 2/3 of a day and took the time to really help us with our decision making. So we did everything that we really wanted to do and we would ultimately be very pleased with. And then the work began. And of course, as good as everything we were told, I'm always a little hesitant, especially since this was going to be a number 4 kitchen. So they came in and they were amazing. Their work is so meticulous. These guys are really incredible. And the quality, not only the quality of the workmanship, but the quality of the product. I have never seen a finished product, the doors, the finished material on the cabinets themselves, that was done so meticulously. It's so smooth. It's just like butter. It's unbelievable, and the strength and durability of the material they use on it, the paint, is incredible. And the finished product we could not be happier with. And we added a few things like a pull-out. One of the features that we retained from the previous kitchen was a cutting board, a built-in cutting board. So what Reborn did is design a drawer that would accommodate the existing cutting board. So voila, we still have its availability, and it's very useful. And we have another one on the other side. However, we're not using the cutting board feature. And if you don't want to use the cutting board, you can stash your goodies from the grandkids. So it's become very convenient for us, and the grandkids love it too, especially after we show them where it is. The other thing is we didn't want a microwave oven on the countertop because it's something we've had to deal with. And so we found this particular model of Sharp microwave. It's one of their latest models, and all the controls are concealed, so you don't see them until you want to use it. And it just flips open like that and makes it very easy to see, and then touch the button, pops open, put whatever it is you need to cook or heat, and you're good to go. My wife and I couldn't be happier. I wish she was here today to share her feelings, because she's ecstatic about this kitchen. I recommend Reborn to a number of people that I know are looking at doing remodels of either bathrooms or kitchens. And their workmanship, their reliability is second to none. A Reborn cabinet, it just went as smooth as could be, and we are just extremely pleased. And like I say, I recommend Reborn cabinets to friends and associates and people constantly.
Stop what you're doing, go to Reborn, and get these beautiful cabinets. I'm paraphrasing, but that's sort of what was going on. All right, so we went over the 12-month, no payments, no interest, to which Vinny was thrilled about.
The $1,500 value of the free drawers for the KFI.
Yeah, and then that's, they have to mention KFI, get up to 10 free drawers. That's a $1,500 value, and
right.
Yeah. So apologize for the audio issues, but when you think about it, it reminds me of a story. My brother one time was going through the canyon here in the hills, Valley Hills, going through the canyon, talking to someone on his cell phone in the car in Australia, and the signal was a little poor, and he got, he was like, oh man, I can't believe the signal's so poor. And then he thought to himself, I'm driving in the canyons of Los Angeles, talking in the car to someone in Australia and complaining that the signal's not so great. So when you look at things, have perspective. We have had a couple of technical difficulties, but when you think about what we're doing, pulling in Gary from Santa Clarita area, me from the East Los Angeles area, you guys from Anaheim, there's a lot of moving things, and we appreciate people being patient with all of that.
Yes.
Again, you guys are open till 4 p.m. today, the showroom there in Anaheim, if people want to come in. Nosh, you've got some great stuff there.
We're open 7 days a week. It's got the sweepstakes. We have the great offers. We'll take you through our manufacturing facility. You'll meet our designers, and you'll see some great things. And if you come during one of these events, you'll get some great food, and maybe even get a chance to meet Vinny.
Yeah, boy, that really is icing on top of the cake. But you see the family attitude and everything there. I want to end with a couple of things. A couple of questions that I get asked a lot, whether it be people entertaining for the holidays or for a big game or what have you. I'm going to give you a couple of tips. You go to your local grocer. In the freezer section, you will find puff pastry dough, frozen. Comes in sheets. You can unfold it. About 20 minutes, it thaws out. Keep that in your freezer at all times. You are ready to make appetizers, meals, desserts at any time. You could put vegetables in them. You could put pizza fillings in them. You can, anything from olives and cheese and what have you into these things. You can put apples and cinnamon and butter and brown sugar in them, and you've got an apple pie. People ask me all the time, what do I need to be able to entertain on a dime? You will thank yourself to be able to go out and get some of these frozen things. They keep very well. You can take them out when needed, and you can have in a 400-degree oven. You can have a beautiful sweet treat. You can have an appetizer, or you can have an entree in minutes. So keep that in mind as we go into the holidays. Also want to thank you all for taking the time to hang out. The people at Reborn really are quality people, and it makes it super easy to do my job to say, I don't get paid to like them. They pay for the spots in the show for me to have the ability to talk about them. So people get confused as to what the process is. Someone doesn't say,
there's a difference. You don't have to say the nice things.
Yeah. They don't say, hey, here's some money, say nice things. They say, here's some money to the station to give me the space to say nice things that I believe.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Neil, we are so proud to be able to say that we did your kitchen and Gary's kitchen. And I love the tips on your show. I really do. It's fantastic.
I'm telling you, the kitchen is a special place. As much as you hear Gary and I talk about it all the time, and you guys, it's the heart of the home. that's not that's confirmation, not information. Everybody knows that, and they can see that when they come in there. Of course, you guys do bathroom. You do the rooms that are really super important. So just keep that in mind. If you're on the fence, just ask questions. No one's going to tackle you when you go in there to the Reborn Cabinets showroom and say, sign here. They want you to be thrilled. They wouldn't take the time to build these vignettes and update them constantly unless they wanted you to feel comfortable and safe. Ask questions. If you don't feel comfortable, walk your ass right out and go somewhere else. But ask the questions before, because they had things that I never knew existed. Options for those nooks and crannies. Learn about those small spaces that you've always hated, never used properly. Learn that you can put spice racks in there. Learn that they have mechanisms that are science fiction that can utilize those corner spaces. It's like having a robot in your kitchen. So there's all kinds of options. Don't think that your kitchen has to stay the way it is. There's so much you can do with it, and I highly recommend these people. They've become friends, and they really care about what they leave behind. They don't want to just take off and say job done. And
remember, if the listeners don't want to drive that far to Anaheim, we have a Torrance location. We have a showroom in Torrance, Lake Forest, San Diego. We have Anaheim. We're in Northern California and Livermore. So there's chances are the reach of your show, we have a showroom near one of your listeners.
Excellent. And a big shout out to Edna and Allie and Dana and Brian. Of course, Eric, who's just a stud, putting all this stuff together and managing all the technical stuff you don't even want to know about. Of course, Anthony and special guest Vinny, who chewed his way through the straitjacket to be with us today, which was really nice. But I appreciate your time, brother, and all your knowledge and what you guys do. I'm proud to be able to be a representative and someone who gets to shine light on who you folks are and what you do.
Thanks, Neil. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me be on today.
Hey, this is great. So don't forget, showroom's open until 4 there in Anaheim. The sweepstakes page and all that good stuff. And if you have questions, always find me and hit me up on social media, Instagram or Twitter at Fork Reporter. I will tell you anything you need to know. We didn't get to a lot of questions or anything today, but you can funnel those through me if you wish, or hit the people up directly, give them a call, tell them you're a listener and that you have questions. I'm happy to answer what I can as well. Thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.